I'm going to say that we do not have a quorum for the meeting this evening. So we will hold this as an info-only meeting. No, so we can't make any decisions tonight. We'll start off, and I'm sure you guys all know that all three of our budget requests have passed. So we do have the money to do the survey of the cyanobacteria mat, the benthic mat, around P1. And we have the money to do the cyanobacteria protocol, the entire protocol. There's a couple of caveats to that. I did have a meeting with the Board of Health and us. Basically, I was I was the representative there. You guys were tied up with other things. No harm, no foul, no big deal. And Laura pointed out that since the Lakes, Ponds, and Streams Committee, we submitted the funding request for the town warrant, we own the money for that. So, and we can't reassign duties in the protocol to other entities right now. So we own it lock, stock, and hubcap right now. It is what it is. What I'm thinking is after the season, I don't think that protocol is properly placed here in our lap solely. So I think we need to, at the end of the season, have a sit down with RecCom and with Board of Health and try and reassign some of these responsibilities, because it's more for their benefit than ours. But that's just my opinion.
No,
The
of course, at the
question
end of
is,
the season, we're gonna have to go for more money. Right? No, there won't be a budget for it there's not a budget for it next year.
Unless somebody picks up the torch and says, we're going to ask for money for next year to redo that protocol. And Mike, you started having another question?
I just want to ask, in Wayland, who administers their protocol? Just for example, is Board of Health? Or...
It's a combination with their RecCom and their Board of Health. Because I'm not exactly sure who's performing what steps, like getting the water quality samples and doing the Abraxas test strips, and who's making sure that samples get to the labs and everything. So there's lots of unanswered questions right now. But speaking of the protocol, and I am absolutely thrilled with this piece of news. Rachel Gladstone from MDPH reached out to me and Matt Rollins last week, asking if they could share our protocol with Chelmsford and some of the other towns that are trying to establish their own cyanobacteria protocol. I guess the product that we produced was good enough that, for other towns that don't have a standing one, it's a good model. So I got to give a lot of props to Wayland, for that's what ours is based on. But they wanted to share ours with some other cities and towns. That's we done good.
Well, I think we're about to find out how well we did.
Yeah, over last week, last Monday, Matt called me after someone from DPW had gone and got the E. coli sample and dropped it off with him. So I ran over to the beach and I got a water sample for the blue-green enumeration and counting. And I brought it down to Northeast Labs. Never been there, had never seen the place, and I was kind of interested to see what it is. Mike, you've been to Phoenix, correct?
I have, yes.
Yeah, and what about Bill? You, Bill, have you ever been down to Phoenix Labs down in Connecticut?
No,
No.
Although I should say, Dave, I haven't. I've never been past the drop-off
Oh, neither have
station.
I.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Um,
So Northeast is a little beyond, it's probably 20 minutes past where Phoenix is in Westbrook. Northeast is down in, I can't remember the name of the town, but it's down in the West Hartford area. Nice facility and got some good information from them. They get samples mailed to them all the time. So having to run down there every week, we do not have to do. I can take a sample and I have a styrofoam cooler, put some ice packs in it and send it down there, and they will return it if we include a note, please return shipping materials and supplies, and they will include a 1 liter bottle, a 1 liter brown bottle, like we got from Pace, so we can keep on sampling. And they'll roll it into the invoice, the shipping costs, they'll roll that into the invoice. So for the routine samples under scenario 1 in the protocol, we don't have to go back down there. And 7 to 10 day turnaround, we should have the results back by next Monday, the 15th. And just a really couple of friendly folks that I ran into down there, and I think we're going to have good stuff coming out of Northeast Labs. Matt Rollins from the Board of Health, they are ordering a 5-strip test kit for each of the 3 toxins that we have to look at: the microcystins, the cylindrospermopsins, and the anatoxin A. As Abraxas makes test strips for all of those. The anatoxin A is a relatively new one, and the test strips have a very low threshold. I think it's 2.5 micrograms before they alert. And Mass DPH has established a 60 microgram advisory threshold. So there's kind of a delta between them, and we'll have to get
the
some.
case with all of them?
I'm sorry?
Isn't that the case with all 3 strips, that they alert at a level below actionable?
No, the other 2, the microcystins and the cylindrospermopsins, those, if they exceed the levels, that's what the state has already determined is the action level. So microcystins and cylindrospermopsins we're good with, but the advisory level right now on the anatoxin A is still hasn't been determined.
I could have sworn that at least one of them was 2.5 and the actionable level was 8.
You may be right, Bill. I'm going to have to look back into that.
Because that was been my concern, is that it's going to alert before it's actionable. And then because it's a qualitative test, we're going to have to make a decision about whether or not, what action we're going to take when it alerts.
I think you're right, now that I think about that. Let me jot a note here.
Oh, and then as long as we're talking about the strips, the other thing I learned as I was going through some of the stuff from Abraxas is part of the sampling, the chemicals associated with the sampling, it actually breaks down the cell walls. So you're getting a sample that includes the toxins in the water and in the cells.
Really?
Yeah, it's LYSE, which is what it does, which is, I think, a word for breaking down cell walls.
I believe you're right. Next steps, okay. Well, But as it stands right now, I went over there this morning and I took the second weekly test sample. We've got enough bottles from Pace to get through the entire season. But if we start shipping them down there, and it's probably going to be cheaper to send them UPS than it is through the mail or anything like that. I think it was like $36 to send, and I estimated it about a 3-pound package. It's going to be about $36 to send it through the US mail and only about $20 to go via UPS. And because they're routine tests, it'll, 2-day service is no big deal. And so we should be good with that. Right now,
you drop them off in Westboro?
there's a UPS shop right in Milford, right by the Mandarin restaurant.
Okay.
Matter of fact, when I dropped the one off last week, I got on the bike and rode over there and dropped it off, and it was a good day for a ride. So now I don't know if you guys have looked at the RecCom web page, but they already have a green sign up there for water quality. They're missing a little bit of information. They just don't have full information yet, but it passed the E. coli, so they're happy. And then, now it's going to be seeing how the season shapes up. And, do we have to respond to any blooms? There's a couple of other, ballpark tests that MDPH recognizes. One, it's a stick and a jar. Really, really technical. They take basically a paint stirrer, and if there's a green scum on the water, they will dip it in there. And if you've got this filamentous stuff hanging on the strip, on the stick, it is not cyanobacteria. But if it looks like paint, then it could be. But duckweed also forms that same kind of thing. So you have to look at it, is it lumpy and granular? Because cyanobacteria won't be lumpy and granular. And if you take a sample with the green stuff in it, it'll all float to the top at the beginning. And as the day goes on, the cyanobacteria will descend through the water column, and it will do the same thing in the jar. So that's not a definitive test, but it's a couple of other, homegrown ways to look at it and see if it's possibly. So that could go a long way. Can't qualify those. There's no way to say, yes, it is, or no, it isn't. It's just a rule of thumb kind of thing. But I thought that was pretty interesting. And the last thing, before we put this dead horse to bed, do we think it's advisable to do an after-action meeting with the stakeholders to see how we can improve this, rather than just say, here's what we think works, and let it go from there?
I think that's a really good idea, and maybe even a short report to actually get it in writing with recommendations. If we find any ways potentially to improve it.
Yeah, and funding, ideas for funding and responsibilities.
Okay. And kind of the same thing with our intern, or our former intern, because tonight would have been his last opportunity to attend a meeting as a board member or a committee member. And we don't have to make a decision tonight, again, because we don't have a quorum, so we really can't. But I'd like to get your feedback on, do we want to entertain having another intern? I see lots of opportunities where we could have made it better for him. One of the things that he wanted was more one-on-one interaction with me. And yeah, I could have, but getting this kid to actually show up was sometimes a bit of a challenge. I'm a 17-year-old high school kid. What is, can't set, really high expectations, but something to think about. Something to think about, and we'll revisit this next month. I went out with some of the students from the high school today. Two of the three of them showed up, and we did some water quality sampling at P2, which is the one by the launch ramp. And both of these kids did an excellent job. One of them was a little quick on giving me the numbers from the temperature and DO and stuff like that, but both of them really did a good job. One of them was asking a lot of questions. She seemed to be very interested in what we're doing and why and what results we get from it. But she wants to be an orthopedic surgeon, so I don't think she's got a future as an intern with the committee. Still looking at growing our membership. None of us here are getting any younger. So I'd like to try and, how do we attract even, a younger member or two to the committee. Right now, it looks like most of the committees are populated by the same, our same age group folks, and they're kind of interchangeable who's on what committee. So I just don't have any ideas on how we can grow our committee membership. I'm always open to ideas. And the last thing I've got, and this was, Mike and I were discussing it a little earlier, is the status of the phase 2 update. I still have not heard from the town manager on whether they're going to grant the extension through the end of August. And I was at the town hall today. I should have poked my head in and asked about an update on it. Bill, you're wearing a puzzled look.
I'm surprised that she hasn't responded yet. And the other thing is I don't know why she would say no.
So.
And I think she's going to rely on us to make a recommendation.
Well, I think I may have sent the ask in right before the town meeting. So, she was probably up to her eyeballs in trying to figure, her first town meeting and trying to figure out which end was up. So, I'll just send her another email and say, hey, can you give me an update on the status?
So I have drafted the last 3 or 4, whatever the number is, the actual document.
Yeah.
So I think I can send a new one to you with it that will be, you can put it in front of her and say, we recommend that you sign this.
Would you please?
Yes,
I'll
do that. Yep.
I would be very happy with that. Yeah. Oh, something I that just popped into my head. Mike, did you get the pictures of that combination dock and kayak and canoe ramp over at Coe's Pond over in Worcester that I sent you?
I'm not sure.
Okay, because when I was over there meeting with Kate Liming from Worcester, and looking at how they do their sampling over at Coe's Pond, they have a little swimming area, and they have this combination ADA dock for fishing and kayak launching and stuff like that. I will resend those pictures to you guys so we can take a look at that. Because if memory serves, we had touched base on that a little bit at the last meeting. Again, I know it's been something we've looked at a couple of times, but haven't really taken any action on it or gone beyond the discussion stage. Anybody else have anything?
Pratt, Taft, and Lake Wildwood were treated on June
On the
2nd.
On the 2nd.
And
Sally,
I'm so sorry.
it's quite all right.
I'm so
and
sorry.
I was just going to add that Lake Maspinock is being treated in the next week or two.
Oh, really? Do you know what they use to treat this go around?
And Upton,
Yes.
I'm assuming it was Propeller and Tribune,
Okay.
which is does standard stuff. So
Yeah.
But I'm still waiting for a report from an report from the firm.
Because one thing I think we need to look at is that cove that's on the east end of the pond. And it's where P3 is, and Mike's been familiar with it because we paddled in there, and it gets so overgrown, it's almost impassable through there. Granted, it's only 2 feet deep, so it's going to fill up really, really quick.
Yeah, and I got a call from somebody who lives in essentially the other cove at the dam
Yeah.
and was wondering why they didn't, as far as he could tell, they had not come down and treated there. And he was saying there was some growth there that needed to be treated. I will tell you that the firm that does the work for us has recommended that we start doing a full treatment for the full ponds,
Mm-hmm.
which of course is going to be substantially more expensive. So probably time to at least start getting quotes about how much that would cost. And I think that's probably, you go to town meeting for Pratt, then town meeting for Lake Wildwood, and then town meeting for Taft for the funding for the full treatment.
Yeah. And how
But,
would
and that's actually a DPW responsibility.
Sure.
So.
But I'm wondering how on earth they get in there to treat like Taft, because there's no launch ramp. It's all private houses around there. There is a right of way.
There's an area off of basically at the intersection of South and Brookside. I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's an area in there where they can go in.
But,
And there are other areas which are about the same size, which is probably just wide enough for the boat, which are town owned. So there's 1 or 2 points where the firms can bring the boats into the.
and I was over to at Wildwood yesterday fishing. Had a great day, and there was a few spots predominantly up on the west end, right alongside 140 where the weeds started to get bad. But for the most part, it wasn't as bad as I've seen it before. So, but it's been treated, so hopefully, and the weed growth is still not as thick as I've seen it other years. But we shall see what we shall see.
So once I get something from the firm that did the work, I'll distribute it to the team. Okay.
Well, since Sally has joined us and we have established a quorum, there is one item that I would like to ask about, and that goes back to our draft protocol, and it ties in with TRC. They asked if they're going to include the draft protocol in their final report. And if everybody has had a chance to look at it, if there's any comments, questions, complaints, or anything like that, get them into me. If not, I'd like to ask for a motion to accept that protocol so we can get it published and get it to the town clerk.
It looked good to me. I did read through it.
And
The only feedback I had, and this is related to the discussion about lysing, is
Yeah.
that you can do the testing, I think, before the bloom dissipates.
oh. Okay.
Because again, the lysine breaks down the cell wall, so you're getting the toxin from both the water and the cells. So
The
it accelerates the breakdown process.
and I think for the physical sample that we take, we have to wait till the bloom disappears. But doing it with the test strips can be done like immediately. That's that's what you're saying, Bill?
Yes, that
Okay, all right.
that's my takeaway from the material that I was
Okay.
reading from the company.
Yeah,
When
but the
does this start? When is the first test?
we have started.
Okay, awesome.
We don't have the Abraxas test strips because our committee, we did not have money, but BOH, they still have some funds available, so they're purchasing a small 5-strip test kit for each of the three things that we've got to test for, and they're incorporated into the latest protocol. And you weren't here, Sally, when I was
Yeah.
sharing this information earlier. I was really very pleased because Rachel Gladstone from MDPH, they reached out to me and asked if they could share our protocol with some other cities and towns.
We want to be the leaders in this. That's the whole point. That's why we did all this, because we knew other people weren't, and we had to take it,
Yeah, so
lead the
yeah,
way.
I
Lead
am
the
really pleased with them asking. And yes, I told them, share it. I should have said, for the right amount of money, we'll let you share it.
Or make sure that they recognize who's initiating all this. Give credit where credit is earned.
Well, then that would actually go to Wayland because they showed me the path.
Oh, yeah.
They showed me the path. So do we have a motion to accept the protocol?
I'll make the motion.
Okay. And a second?
Second,
And so we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Okay. And motion carries. So we will get that, I'll get that published and submit it to Denise before the end of the week. And Sally, another thing near and dear to your heart, the Southeast New England something program, the SNEP. Yeah.
Yeah.
They are soliciting for pretty much stormwater management projects. The thing that I don't know that we would be able to put together a request before July 15th, which is their drop dead deadline. So there is some funding available. We just need to get something put together, and I will download all their paperwork and everything and see what they're looking for. Maybe we can try and get in on the stormwater management testing and management through SNEP next year.
yeah, so the town has a contract with, I forget the engineering firm, Beta, if I remember correctly. But in any case, we're spending $40,000 to $50,000 a year with them to manage our required stormwater efforts at the town level.
Okay.
So presumably they probably have some recommendations for projects already.
But do
Yeah, I think we
they,
talked about that in the past, right? And you were going to look into their recommendations or something. Yeah.
do you know if they do any stormwater runoff sampling to see what's getting washed into the pond?
They may have done some of that in the past, sure.
Okay.
And again, I don't know exactly where, because I mean, the stormwater system is far bigger than just Pratt Pond.
Right.
Oh, of course, it's the entire town. I mean,
Yeah, so they
Yeah.
may, I mean, they may have done testing at various outfalls throughout town.
that, I think would be some interesting information.
But so let me talk to Dennis and find out more about where I can go to get a sense of the scope of what they do for us.
That
Yeah,
would
I
be
think
gr-
that would be
yeah.
really interesting for us as a committee to understand, because we're pretty closely connected exactly what they do. And
Yes, and I
Yeah.
serve as a representative of the Department of Public Works.
yeah, exactly.
But not for long.
No?
Well, no, I told them that I'm gonna at the very least go to part-time after July.
Oh, wow. All these notices I'm getting from people, in other words, my caretaker just gave me his notice too. So I'm like, yeah,
Oh,
okay,
no.
another person, July.
Oh, no.
Anyways, that's personal. But anyways, everybody's got other things to do in their life. I wish you. So,
I'm finding that I am far busier now than when I had to work for a living.
exactly. I know that feeling.
Well, I'm expecting to discover the same thing. I'll just be far busier doing things that I really want to do right now.
Yeah. Ay, ay,
All right. So any other hot button items that we want to discuss?
Well, now that we have a quorum, I suspect Anna would really love it if we got her some comments on the executive summary. So they could, that's really the last thing I think they need in order to get, I'm not sure what they're gonna call what they put out. Are they gonna call it a draft report, that goes up to the public? Probably. And then, they're gonna have their presentation. And then, I would guess after that, the thing would be final. It'd be,
I was going to say, I don't think that their final report is actually due till after the presentation.
Mm.
Yeah, so it should be a
So-
draft report.
so this will be draft.
Yeah.
But we should, since we do have a quorum, we should discuss how to get them comments on the executive summary. And what I would suggest is, it's kind of hard. I'm looking at it right now. It's about 2.5 pages. Maybe we could commit to everybody making some comments on them, getting them to Dave to consolidate, and then get them to TRC, say within a week or so.
okay, yeah.
How's that sound?
So that
That's
would
fair.
be, so next Monday is the 15th. Yeah. I can,
I'll make, so if that's okay, I'll make the motion to, that, committee members provide Dave with any comments on the TRC executive summary by, what date? You want to say by the 15th?
Yeah.
15th.
Okay, by the 15th, and then, and Dave is authorized to consolidate the comments and transmit them to TRC.
Second,
And let's put what's the Friday after that? Would that be the 19th?
yes, that
Yes,
is
19th.
Juneteenth.
Okay, then, yeah, let's, so I'll have that wrapped up and transmitted to TRC by the 19th. And you have that motion kind of plotted out there, Mike?
Yeah,
Okay, so I will second that motion.
Well, honestly, Dave, I think if you get it to them by the following Monday, if you think you'd like more time, because Juneteenth is a holiday, it would be followed by the weekend. It's up to you.
I'm
Just a
retired, I got
suggestion.
time.
Okay,
No, I think that would be if I know I've got a deadline, I usually like to beat deadlines, so I think I'm pretty sure if everybody gets them into me by Monday, I can have it consolidated and ready to transmit by Thursday.
Okay.
So we have a motion that has been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Okay. Motion carries. Committee action. Okay. Anything else? All right, so it is 1941. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Second. So motion duly second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, thank you, everyone.